Hi. I'm going to wait for everybody to pile in. We are indeed actually going to continue on with your dry delight because I am determined to get the OT3 ending picture. Yes, that is entirely my motivation. Also, this game is fun and I want to see what happens when one actually attempts to do the job correctly. As correctly as August can accomplish a good job like this, that is. So of course, you have to tell me, how is the volume? How is the smooth jazz? Is it smooth to your ears? Overwhelming? Barely there? So, you'll have to let me know. As you know, this time we have been sent back in time to the first night where we go meet Meyer, who is 100% not a gangster. So let's see if we can accomplish this without just disintegrating into a puddle of thirst like he did last time, which I don't believe. All right, we'll meet back here tomorrow to trade reports, drink coffee, eat donuts, and this time it's gonna be different. Ellipses. Is it my imagination or is he drooling a little? Ah, and decide our next plan of action, of course, which is 100% not going to be you going and throwing yourself at a gangster and bringing him cake. Not this time. Understood? Loud and clear, boss. I give him a lazy salute before turning towards the door, smoothing out my vest. Richter? Please be careful. Please don't be the thirst monster that I know you are. Watch yourself. Stay alert. And don't do anything I wouldn't do. Well, we saw the other ending. We know all kinds of things that Leslie would do. You aren't in a place to judge, Leslie. Like what? Skipping out on the job to get cannoli? I'm serious, Richter. You're my partner. I don't want you to be turned into Swiss cheese by a Tommy gun or something. He would use a food metaphor. So promise me you'll be careful, alright? And I'll worry about you whenever you're off solo. Okay, this time, it's the Leslie route. So, I don't got this. Also, we all know that he doesn't have this, so I think this time it's fair to say, I worry about you too. I also worry about myself. This guy. Doesn't he realize it goes both ways? Phrasing. Phrasing. See you later, Artemis. With a small sigh, I rub the back of my neck with a hand, unsure how to phrase what I want to say. I worry about you too, Leslie. Not like I can help it, since you send yourself on sketchy jobs all the time. It's like you're just looking to be iced. What jobs is Leslie doing? I need to know. Somebody tell me. Leslie blinks at me as if he'd never even considered my concern to be a possibility. That's because he knows you. Really? That's very sweet of you to say, Richter. He sniffles, clutching a hand to his collar. Damn it, maybe I should have just kept my mouth shut. I mean, you don't need to get all... But if you're so worried about me, why don't you pick up tomorrow's breakfast? We old geezers do need to sleep in sometimes. Ellipses. Unless there's anything else important, boss, I'm gonna head out. Alright. Leslie pushes himself up from his chair, stepping over to get the door for me. I expect great things from your report tomorrow. Don't. Please don't. Lower your expectations, please, Leslie. With any luck, we'll be well on our way to making Cleveland a boring old town drier than the Sahara Desert. Doesn't sound quite so encouraging when I put it that way, does it? Can't argue there. God bless America, land of the liquor free. See you in the morning, boss. Give him hell, detective. He reaches out to ruffle my hair fondly, as he often does. I stopped brushing it down a while ago. Leslie always likes to mess it up first thing anyway. Alright, let's do this. We trade wry smiles, and with that, I head out into the cool night air. This time it's different. This time not gonna be swept off my feet by a totally not gangster who is 100% the head of everything. Next stop, Richter's first speakeasy. Alright. You know the drill. If you weren't here last time, August is supposed to go undercover to infiltrate the mafia and shut down the bootlegging operation. He did not accomplish that. He did not accomplish that in the slightest. Password. A gruff voice whispers to me through a slot in the door. The basement of this dingy restaurant echoes with the muffled sounds of swing music, like it's haunted by some ghostly jazz band. Swordfish. There's a long pause. My informant definitely said the password was swordfish. This isn't a setup, is it? If it is, heads will roll by the end of tonight, assuming mine's still... The door swings open before I can finish that thought.
Welcome, sir. Please enjoy your night.
I will, just not as much as last time. Thanks, I'm sure I will. I step past the tall, dour doorman and into the loudest place I've ever seen, or heard. Smoke everywhere, deafening music, giant gaggle of dancers, loitering hopheads. Flappers posing in their risque skirts, drunk saps trying to impress them. All this laughter and cheer makes you wonder what's so criminal about it all. Okay, let's not pretend that Meyer's only illegal operations are with liquor. He's gonna have to do something else when Prohibition ends. But I guess it's not my job to ask those kinds of questions. After I wander around a little, weaving through the hooch-holding crowd, I end up loitering by the bar. The bartender's staring at me. I raise a brow at him, offering a silent defense. What? Isn't it normal to come to a speakeasy and not order any liquor? No? His face is definitely saying no. Alright, I'd like to order one of the special. Special comes out of Ed's bathtub, mister. Ah. Also, with a W in the front of that laugh, looks like he's the penguin. That's just what I'm gonna assume now. The bartender bellows out a laugh when I freeze in horror. Oh boy, don't worry, adds the taste. I sure bet it does. Still laughing, he uncorks a bottle and pours me a glass of clear liquid, stuffing a lime slice onto the rim. The rim? Wow. It's like putting a fancy bow on a pile of horse dung, but I guess I should appreciate the effort. I lift the glass, taking a cautious sip. Okay, we have to make the opposite choices. We have to make the opposite choices to get the opposite route. So this time, we're gonna spit it out, because swallowing led to backroom makeouts and essentially joining the mafia in their pocket. Spit it out. I spray my drink all over the man next to me. Oh gosh. Hey, what's the big idea, you yuts? Sorry. Oh, that's bad. What does Ed do in his bathtub? Actually, I don't want the answer to that. As I hold my glass of God knows what and lean back against the bar, desperately trying to blend after spitting it all over one of the patrons, my gaze wanders around the crowded parlor. The informant said this place is a key part of Cleveland's liquor business. Apparently it's owned by mobster types. Also, this was a bad informant because this was the head of operations. And now that I think about it, those guys over there look a little rough around the edges. They're not drinking or dancing, just watching the patrons. I casually scoot down the bar, getting close enough to overhear their conversation. It's so loud in here that I can't make out what they're saying, but I managed to catch a few words. Them Italians, our turf. Them the cops. Did I hear that right? They aren't part of the Italian mafia? I wonder who owns this place then. It must be a different gang. Some kind of deal. That'll work. Risky. I strain my ears as much as I can, sensing the conversation's about to get even more interesting. Just one or two hints. Maybe a name. Come on. I need it. I'm not a very good detective. Only one drink for you tonight, my friend? Oh my god, the accent's back. But apparently people told me it was a real accent that people have, so I feel better about my life. It's just not the accent I'm trying to do. A low, eloquent voice murmurs right in my ear. The culprit smirks me when I whip my head around in surprise, offering a little wiggle of his fingers in greeting. Not today. Not today. Tall-suited and well-groomed, he has an unusually refined look to him. He also has a food king. Is he offering to buy me a drink? Not tonight. Not this timeline. One's enough for me. Well, to be honest, one of Ed's special is about all the Ed I can take. Is that so? Seem like someone who could take quite a bit more. I think you're just being humble. No, really, I like my tongue too much to put it through more of Satan's mouthwash. My dry comment makes the stranger chuckle, and he flashes me a wink. It's real easy. Like, stop making it so easy, my... Oh, so that's the problem. Well, never fear. I'll take good care of that tongue of yours. What's that supposed to mean? Bartender, fresh drink for the delicate-tongued gentleman. And the usual for myself. He waves at the man behind the counter, who quickly nods. Oh, great. I can't actually get drunk. It's like this guy's here just to ruin my investigation. He is. He 100% is. We'll get you fixed up with something that'll tickle your fancy, mister. Trailing off, the stranger raises one eyebrow at me expectantly. Jack. Jack Vaughn. Jack Vaughn's on the case, which means nothing is going to be accomplished. Jack. Not the name I'd have picked for you, but still like it. Really? What name would you have picked? Ask me again, after you've had a few more drinks. Yeah, because he already knows, just looking at August, he's like, yeah, 1 or 2 drinks and he'll be in the back room on the couch joining the mafia. As if on cue, the bartender passes a glass towards me and gently slides a steaming cup towards my companion, who opted out because he keeps his wits about him, unlike me, Jack Vaughn, ace detective. Is that coffee? Thank you, Arthur. Anytime. He throws the man beside me a wily grin. I can't shake the feeling that I'm the butt of some inside joke, but maybe that's my detective's paranoia talking. Or the hunches that I always ignore. You don't drink, huh? I wouldn't call myself a teetotaler, but I do like to stay sharp. Right. Well, drinking partner, since you've twisted me into this, who exactly am I toasting with again? Joey, you're right. He is the best Jack. Oh, also, for those who were here for the last stream on Tuesday, someone is writing the Jack verse. I'm gonna link it in the Friday stream. My name is Maya, and I'll endeavor to make sure you won't forget it. You definitely will. I'm not forgetting it anytime soon. Bye, Betty. How the hell am I supposed to read this guy? If I didn't know better, I'd almost think he was trying to... Heim. Exclaiming some sort of toast, he clinks his glass against my glass. L'chaim. I mimic Myra's pronunciation, and when he happily nods in approval, we both sip our drinks. Ugh. Not as bad as Ed Deluxe, but I still feel like I swallowed a gasoline cocktail. I have never learned how to pretend to be drinking things, despite being an undercover detective. Why the puckered face, Jack? Not smooth enough, that tongue of yours. Meyer leans in closer, propping his elbows on the counter and gazing at my face. You know, the second time around, this feels so much thirstier. Well, if he's hell-bent on being all friendly, maybe I can pull some information out of him. I bet he knows something. He's got that kind of smug air. The air of a man who knows that I'm gonna end up on his couch. Yes, yes, woe is me and my delicate tongue. Really, where do they get this stuff? Is it all home brewed? Surely there's a big cellar. Hint, hint. Oh, hey, greetings from Canada. Of course, why the biggest cellar in town, no less. So he does know. Now I just have to... But more importantly, why don't you tell me a little bit more about yourself? Or a lot more. I promise you, I won't mind. Alright, play it cool, Richter. I can't rush this or he'll catch on. I'm nobody special, really. I help keep civilians safe, serve the city and all that. His smirk deepens for some reason. Just another average fella, here to relax after a hard day's work. Anybody who describes themselves that way, be immediately suspicious of. I'm just your average Joe, totally not undercover. Hoping to take the edge off. Are you just gonna sit there and me all night, or what? Well, I don't mean to be rude, but I have a sneaking suspicion that you're lying. Ellipses. Impossible! He can already tell! Just like all my other cases, it's all gone wrong. Was Leslie right? Am I really that bad at this? Meanwhile, Leslie's in a shootout actually doing his job. Why don't you be honest with me, Jack? Be honest with you? I'm not. Meyer leans even more, this time snaking an arm around my shoulders and pulling me in close, about to make out with me at the counter of his bar. I swallow, trying to keep a hold of myself as his lips brush against my ear. He can't know. There's no way he knows. You're really a Simcha, aren't you? Simcha? Confused, I steal a side glance at Meyer, and his eyes glimmer back at me mischievously. A pimp, of course. Record skip. What? Oh, you can't fool me with that act, Jack. I saw you looking around earlier for any attractive girls. Subtle as a train wreck. I also saw you spitting your drink all over the person next to you. Lord have mercy. If I have to pretend to be a pimp, I think I'll just run out the door instead. A little laugh spills out of Meyer before he can bite it back. Care to tell me what's so funny? Just teasing. Forgive me. I didn't mean any offense. Nor did I think you'd nearly faint on the spot. But I was quite ready to catch you. Oh my gosh. I feel like he's thirstier this time, or am I just reading it as thirstier because now I have the chance to actually observe what he's saying more closely. Alright, you got me. I was just, you know, horrified that my good name might be ruined. Shook me up. Secretly, of course, I'm mostly only relieved that he didn't actually see through the lie. That was too close for comfort. Oh, naturally. An upstanding civil servant like you is obliged to maintain his saintly reputation. Right. Bartender, another round for the gentleman, if you please. And that was how I got pulled into a night of drinking with my new companion. Yeah, pulled into. You fought real hard. It soon grows clear that Meyer isn't gonna let anything important slip. He manages to dodge all my questions like a pro boxer ducking punches. But I'm too invested to turn back. That 100% meta truth. I know he knows something. He knows I know he knows something. but we're just dancing around the subject. And as much as I hate to admit it, it's fun talking to him. So much so that I nearly forget what I came here to do. The way he gives me all of his attention is, well, flattering in a way. While we banter back and forth, I notice the sketchy-looking men from earlier throwing glances towards us. They know what's up. Are they looking at me? At Meyer? Just trying to get the bartender's attention? I can't tell, but I've got a feeling we're being watched. If you don't mind, Jack, I have a question for you. An elbow nudges against my side, interrupting my thoughts. A question? Sure. I'm all ears. I turn my head back towards Meyer, only to see him already pressed close to my side. Our cheeks are nearly brushing together. You wouldn't happen to be looking for underground work, would you? The scandal. My heart skips a beat. He's finally bringing it up. You could say that, more or less. Well, in that case, how about we make a deal? I'll trade you a little business information in exchange for something on your end. He whispers conspiratorial to me, lips curled upward in a sly, daring smirk. Something, huh? What kind of something are we talking about here? Because Richter is down for any kind of something, especially something. Oh, I'm so glad you asked. His breath lightly tickles my cheek. For a second, my focus gets a little hazy. All I can see are those sparkling green eyes. My mind races through all the things he might want from me. Things I'd normally never think of. Until... Bring me a cassata cake. A cassata cake, the type from Frank's Bakery on the east side. Almost certainly not kosher, but I won't tell if you don't. I've heard they changed the recipe to something simply amazing. But let's just say I'm not very welcome in that neighborhood. Not exactly the offer I was expecting. Or wanted. A cake. Right. I'll think about it. No promises. Playing coy, are we? Very well. I see how it is. He exhales a small laugh that brushes my skin again, sending a little tingle down the nape of my neck. Please think it over carefully. And if you decide to accept my offer, come back here tomorrow night. How's that sound, Jack? I hesitantly nod. Can this wise guy really be part of some criminal outfit trading information for cakes? 100%. He's that powerful. When you get that high up the ladder, you can trade for whatever you want. Cakes, lollipops, milk. Perfect. It'll be plenty worth your while. Just keep that in mind. When he finally pushes back, I subconsciously exhale the breath I didn't know I'd been holding. No matter how I look at it, he's acting sweet on me. Of course, it's not like anyone would notice, crowded as this place is. Do you happen to have a favorite kind of drink? He casually throws another question out, catching me off guard. I want to have it ready for you tomorrow night. That's awful nice of you. Well, my favorite drink, I guess that'd be... Okay, no, this is opposite land. It's whiskey. Jack Vaughn's a hardcore whiskey drinking 100%. Can't even finish that sentence. Whiskey. Whiskey, of course. Do I look like a guy who'd drink anything else? Like a sea breeze? How dare you? He didn't seem to have much trouble with the other drinks you've enjoyed tonight. Yes, he did. He had so much trouble. I see what you're doing. That's not a nice game to play, Meyer. That's because you were distracting me. Really? Am I that captivating? You were practically holding me captive from the start, so... Yes. Smooth, August. Real smooth. He lets out a low chuckle, shaking his head. You can't escape Meyer's thirst. It's impossible, no matter what decisions you make. He just wants you. There's something charming about his laugh. Maybe the way it comes from deep in his chest. Gentle, but resonant. Whiskey it is then. And only the best kind, as a mess deserves. I'll make sure to take excellent care of both of you and your refined palate. You're acting like I've already made up my... You're leaving? Meyer sips the last of his coffee and pushes it away, smoothing his hair back with one hand. I'm afraid so, Jack. I've got some business to attend to, but I do hope I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, and tonight's drink's my treat. It's a small token of thanks for your delightful company. With a last knowing wink, Meyer steps away from the counter and slips into the crowd, mingling with the drunken sea. He left so suddenly. I wanted more. I wonder what business he's attending to. Can I help? Well, never mind. I guess that concludes tonight's investigation. What a ride. Truly, there's nobody else I could talk to or eavesdrop on. I'm a good detective. I leave the speakeasy unsure whether Meyer pulled one over on me or if I actually pulled one over on him. You should not even be contemplating that second point. He's sure something, that Meyer. No one's ever swept me into their pace so fast before. No one here believes that, August. I can almost still feel the warmth of his breath on my skin. Just the drink talking. Just the drink. And with that poor attempt to reassure myself, I stuff my hands in my pockets and begin the sobering walk home. The gentle chirping of birds outside the window. The laughter of children on their way to school. The blinding sun. Ugh. Why is our office so bright? Oh, my head. The things I do for this job, I swear. You did not have to. You could have nursed one drink the entire time. This was all you. As I sit in my chair, sipping my morning coffee and trying to ignore this horrible hangover, my eyes drift to the clock. Leslie's even later than usual. I hope nothing's wrong. If he doesn't come in soon, maybe I should just leave a note and go nap in my car. Good morning! As if I'd summoned him from the bowels of sunny hell, Leslie suddenly bursts into the office. In one hand, he's holding a stack of paperwork, and in the other... Is that a cake? Fresh from Frank's Bakery. I tell you, those fellas really nailed the Cassie... whatever this is. All I'm saying is that, you see, he's already buying the cake that Meyer wants. That we're all meant to be together. Like, there's no fighting it. Leslie reaches into the paper bag to grab a piece and happily stuffs his face, chewing away with relish. That's the exact same cake Meyer asked for last night, isn't it? They're already together. This is all an elaborate ploy to get August in on the action. He's been too slow in not picking up hints. There is no mafia. Is this some kind of conspiracy? Is every man in Cleveland eating these cakes except me? Oh. Pausing, Leslie leans in to peer at my face, frowning gently. You look a little under the weather, Richter. Your hair's all messy too, and I haven't even gotten my hands on it yet. Wait, don't tell me. No. You're not hungover, are you? Richter, you naughty boy. Listen, boss, could we just get to our reports? Changing the subject, I see. Absolutely shameless. Leslie, who seems to think my hangover is the funniest thing in the world, chuckles all the way over to his office chair. Yeah, laugh it out of your system while I sit here hoping for a spontaneous eclipse. I'll let you start off then, my little partying partner. What did you find out last night? In between shots, that is. Well, from what I heard, it sounds like the Italians aren't running the speakeasy, or even most of the liquor business. If I had to guess, it's either a big street gang or the Jewish mafia. The Jewish mafia? It's true they've been growing in size around here lately. Or so I've heard, and totally don't know, because I'm not sleeping with Meyer. What? What makes you think it's them, though? I heard a couple of fellas talking about the Italian mafia's competition, so it can't be them. After that, the man I drank with, he was Jewish, and I have a pretty strong feeling he's some kind of mobster, and in no way am I in love with him. Oh, tell me more. Perking up curiously, Leslie props his chin on his hands and leans forward to gaze at me from across his desk. He's got a bit of whipped cream on one corner of his mouth, but I pretend not to notice. Guy said his name was Meyer, for starters. He was well-dressed, a little too confident, and... Should I tell Leslie about the flirting? I mean, he doesn't really need to know, and I'd sort of like to enjoy the memory without being scolded, but... But I need to diverge into a different timeline, so I'm gonna tell you. And he flirted with me. So much. Intense flirting. Or he may have been flirting with me. He what? How dare he? You're my man, he better step off. He raises his voice incredulously, jaw dropping. Well, could have been that I just misread things, but... The nerve. Unacceptable. 1 million years, dungeon. Leslie pushes out of his chair and begins to pace around the office. I can't tell if he's genuinely angry or just fussing like he normally does. August can't tell much, just putting that out there. How dare he? Flirting with my junior partner. Really, that's the issue you have with it. Poor, small, defenseless little Richter at the mercy of some cruel gangster? If only I'd been there. I'm bigger than you, boss. This Meyer had better watch out. Mark my word. Boss! He freezes when I call out to him in frustration. Well, when he gives me that innocent did I do something wrong expression, I can't really stay annoyed, can I? Would you just please sit down so I can finish my report? Look at August's face, he's into it. He's like, oh, jealous over me? Oh no, please stop. Oh, you weren't finished. Sorry about that. Sheepishly clearing his throat, Leslie sinks back into his chair and nods for me to continue. Meyer offered me a deal for information. A deal? You're serious? I nod, barely resisting the urge to rub my forehead. Details on the mob in exchange for... my body... no, cake. For... This is so ridiculous, I can barely say it out loud. In exchange for cake. Look at his face, he's like, the lies. You can just tell me what happened. Oh, come off it, Richter. Tell me what he actually wanted. I know you're trying to get revenge for me teasing you, but... I'm being serious, boss. He wanted a cake. Pointing at the paper bag that holds Leslie's half-eaten breakfast, I put on the straightest face I can manage, which is not that straight. Also, he's having cake for breakfast? We need to have an intervention. It's from the neighborhood around Little Italy, right? Obviously that place is owned by the Italian gang, so he can't get too close. But as for why he wants one... I've got no clue, boss. Maybe a kid at home who likes them. Sweet tooth. Forbidden fruit. 100% forbidden fruit. It reeks of a setup, Richter. Isn't that obvious? Leslie wrinkles his nose, about the reaction I'd expect, and really not an unfair one. I thought about that, believe me. But I'm oh so thirsty. But if it was a setup, why would he invite me back? Wouldn't it have been easier to get rid of me right there? And he could have made his offer sound more serious, too. Anyone with half a brain would be suspicious. That's true, I suppose. I still don't like it, though, not one bit. He lets out a heavy sigh, sticking a hand into the bag with his cake and tearing off a piece to idly munch on. Well, while you were having the time of your life last night, I was chatting with Mr. FBI. Apparently one of the city's politicians is hosting a big party at a hotel tonight. Thanks to our contact, I've got us passes inside, and this time you're coming with me. You can't get out of it to go make out on a couch with a sexy fireplace. Because you know it's gonna be at that party, my dear Richter. A lot of liquor? A hell of a lot of liquor, probably provided by the main source in Cleveland. Leslie and I exchanged knowing looks. I can already see what he's getting at. So you want to scope it out for information. It's a good bet and a safe one. Once folks get drunk, there's no telling what kind of juicy information we'll get out of them. If we're lucky, some of it might even be related to our case. I wouldn't count on it. Look how my mission went. We snicker. In our line of work, both of us have seen our fair share of these ritzy orgies. I think you should come to the party with me tonight. With your smarts and my good looks, we're bound to find something out. And if you want my honest opinion... Leslie goes thoughtfully silent for a moment, and a more serious look darkens his brow. I think this rendezvous at the Speak is too risky. Even if Meyer doesn't mean you any harm, any other mob types around there might not feel the same way. But I also don't think you're green enough to walk into a death trap. Gee, thanks, boss. When I roll my eyes, Leslie offers me a soft, affectionate smile. The kind he only puts on once in a blue moon. I'm heading to the party either way, but I trust your judgment, Richter. You can decide for yourself where to go tonight. What'll it be? Well, as fun as going to Myers was last time, this time we do our jobs. This time we investigate. As much as I hate to disappoint Leslie, my instincts are telling me the speakeasy's worth a gamble. It's a risk, no doubt about it, but one I feel I have to take. What do you mean? Shifting out of my chair, I approach Leslie's desk and lean over it, giving him a firm look to show my conviction. What did I do wrong? No. No. What did I do wrong? I did something wrong. How? What answer did I give that was wrong? How? No. No. Let me just confirm. No. No, no, no. I want to go with you. I want to go with you. Let me go there. No. No. What did I do? How did this happen? How did we get here? Take us with you. Okay. No, I don't want to overwrite the save. I'm trying to load. I'm trying to load, not save. I'm trying to load. Whoa. I worry about you too. I'm gonna spit it out. One's enough. Maybe something sweet? Is that what I did wrong? Okay. And he flirted with me. Yes, 100%. That has to be it. That has to be it. Okay. Let's use our magic powers to alter the timeline. We're gonna use our magic powers, and this time we're going with you. Let me come with you. Let's see. Let's see. No, he wanted cake, but this time I'm not giving it to him. This time it's not happening. This time I'm going with you, right? 100%? Yes? Please? Let me come with you. I did everything right. Let me come with you. Please, Jack Vaughn can't do his job. I think that I should go with you. Okay. Okay. What'll it be? I can't say I agree with Leslie about the speakeasy deal. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's a key part of this mess. But, ha 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 ha, sweet drink, that was the key. Jack Vaughn, lover of mojitos. I think he's right about the hotel party. If the gossip flows as freely as the liquor, and believe it or not, I'd like to spend more time on the job with him. Watching Leslie work is quality entertainment in and of itself. It better be, because that was a lot of skipping and time manipulation. Okay, boss, you won me over. Party it is. Tonight we're gonna party like it's the correct timeline. Attaboy, Richter. Leslie spins around in his chair at top speed, apparently thrilled by my reply. Hopefully our supervisor doesn't decide to walk in right now. They have a supervisor? Who is supervising this operation? I have questions. It's Dr. Raiden. I think I'll send someone to the speakeasy anyway, just to scope it out again. And to give him his cake, because I can't disappoint. I can't disappoint him. That place has gotta be important somehow. Ignoring the spinning Leslie, I rub my cheek thoughtfully and gaze at the ceiling, pondering the situation. And my inherent thirst. If another agent can get some more information from that place, maybe we can combine it with tonight's findings to form a better plan. I'll call Earl and tell him to head out over there while we're at the party. Who's Earl? Well, good thing there's plenty of paperwork to keep us busy for the rest of the day. A whole stack of reports arrived this morning, actually. I was getting worried when you came in so late. I thought I'd have to do them all myself. And we know how accurate those would have been. Good thing we're a team, right, boss? Boss? I glance over at Leslie, who's gone silent. He's still slowly spinning in his chair, head slumped back. Is he... He's snoring. If I had a dime for every time this happened, I'd be a rich man. But no, all I have is this massive pile of paperwork. As Leslie enjoys his morning nap, I bury myself in the reports, poring over them one by one. He's lucky. I have such a soft spot for him. Otherwise, I'd tip him out of that damn chair and throw these papers in his face. He always looks so peaceful when he's sleeping, though. Not a care in the world. Innocent as a kitten. That's my dashing senior partner, all right. Dashing. Dashing. He's so dashing. As evening finally rolls around, I manage to finish up the paperwork. Leslie woke up in time to help me with the last third, and we head out to the party. Let's do it! Party timeline! Woo! Alright. I recognize that fireplace. You can't trick me. Our taxi takes us to a lavish hotel, an appropriate place for a fancy gala like tonight's. When we get to the crowded parlor, Leslie and I decide to split up, so I'm left alone with a smattering of chatty guests dressed to the nines. I wander around for a while, trying to keep my distance while attempting to spot anyone of note, but it's too crowded for my strategy to work. I'm gonna have to get into the thick of it, aren't I? Jack Bond's on the case, get him a sea breeze. Working at these events is always a nightmare. Mingle or eavesdrop? Well, if my time playing visual novels has taught me anything, it's that eavesdropping is always the correct answer. Finally, I noticed a couple of familiar faces in one corner of the room. Faces who were plastered all over town when they were running for election. Trying not to attract too much attention, I shuffle towards the pair, trying to overhear their discussion. You know how much dough I got from those guys, Gordon? Jim Gordon. It's Gotham. Gotham confirmed. $5 grand? No. Higher. I don't know. 10? 15 grand, Gordy, old boy. All I gotta do is pretend they don't exist. Where do I sign up? That's a good vacation. Right there. If there's anything Volstead's shown me, it's how two-faced politicians are. Even the people who say they believe in prohibition don't follow it, and saps like these two even abuse it to make money. It's one big lie that we all pretend is real, just like Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny, only for adults.
That escalated quickly. Are you okay, August?
Sighing to myself, I turn around and start scoping out a more promising group to join. Richter. A sing-song voice suddenly calls out my name, floating over the loud chatter of all the guests. A very familiar sing-song voice. Boss? Boss, you... Ah, there you are. Whoa. Leslie comes half stumbling towards me, crashing right into my arms. Fantastic. I managed to catch him considering he's lighter than a paperweight, but I can't get him to stay upright. He keeps slumping back onto me, not even attempting to stand straight. Boss, just what the hell are you doing? Shh, not so loud. We're blending in, Richter, blending. He's completely smoked, isn't he? I can already guess what happened. Leslie can barely handle a single drink, and the champagne's flowing like the Nile here. Wow. And like, we already know August can barely handle like 2. Oh, what a dream team. A dream team cracking down on prohibition. Quick, take me to the broom closet. Why? Boss, what are you? Shh. He presses a finger to my lips, glaring at me indignantly. I found some things, important things. I need privacy and somewhere I can put my feet up. I don't know if I should be impressed or concerned that he got drunk so quickly. Well, it's not like I can really drag him home in this state, can I? What am I gonna do with you? This sounds like a choice. And you know what that does to me. That means I have to save, because choices stress me out. Muttering to myself in disbelief, I help Leslie down the hall away from the rest of the party. Luckily, it seems like the hotel staff planned ahead. A number of the doors are unlocked and open. For situations just like this one, no doubt. And other situations. We end up in a dark room, and I kick the door closed after dragging Leslie inside. A broom closet. You're off your rocker, boss. Deciding to deposit my senior partner on the bed, I move us toward it and gently nudge him onto the covers. Maybe he'll just decide to fall asleep. Oi! I said I have important things to tell you. Before I can step away, Leslie grabs my wrist and tugs me down onto the bed. Sit. What? Is this some kind of impromptu meeting? All the best meetings happen at hotel rooms in this game. Leslie leans back against the pillows and gives me a hazy smirk, nodding. His legs are stretched out across my lap, and he's still got his shoes on. He'll get dirt on the bedspread at this rate. This is August's concern, not the hotel bedspread. Oh, taking off my boots? You're too good to me. I don't deserve a partner like you, Richter. I really don't. Someone's gotta take care of you. True. I don't envy that someone. Our relationship is a running joke between us, but I've never been unhappy with how things are. What's the joke? Let me in on it. I want to be on the inside. Leslie takes care of me too, in his own little ways. Buying me food, teaching me French on the weekends, making me stay home and bringing me soup every time I'm sick. He is full on in love with you. How have you not noticed this? You know, he spends his weekends teaching me French, making soup for me. Whenever I need him, he's always there. Hello? Richter? Anybody home? Leslie snaps his fingers in front of my face, giggling to himself. You've been staring at me for, about 30 seconds. That's because I was thinking about what a big fat hypocrite you are. Hypocrite? Me? Razzing me this morning for being hungover, but here you are, fried off your mind. Well, nobody's perfect. Not even me. He pouts, fluffing up the pillows behind his back and attempting to knit his brow into a serious expression. It doesn't work very well. I found out who's behind the booze at tonight's party. In fact, sounds like he's pulling the strings in all of Cleveland. You're serious? Who is it? A fella called Eastman. Biggest name in the whole city's underground. Meyer Eastman.
That cat. And he said he wanted cake. My breath catches.
Does that mean the man from last night was... Nah, it's probably not the same one.
There are so many men named Meyer Eastman. It's 100% common name. Everybody's got it. Leslie shakes his head as if reading my thoughts.
He's tall, really short hair, likes to wear a long coat, low distinctive laugh.
Was the person describing him to him in love with him as well? My goodness. He likes long walks on the beach.
It's him. We stare at each other for several seconds, unsure what to make of this revelation. I can't believe I was actually drinking with a mob boss last night. I can't believe I almost brought him cake. Let alone one who propositioned me for cake.
Propositions you for so much more than cake.
But what surprises me most is, I liked it. He wasn't a bad guy. How's that?
Leslie blinks when I unconsciously mutter my thoughts aloud.
Meyer. He wasn't rude or intimidating, and he sure as hell didn't try to throw his weight around like you'd think. I guess I'm just thrown by how normal he seemed. Like a regular Joe, not someone in the mafia.
Like a really attractive regular Joe who I'm thirsting for. Ellipses.
Rather than poking fun at me, Leslie gently nods, exhaling a quiet sigh. Apparently, it's pretty well liked around here. Doesn't usually resort to violence either. They say he's got a golden tongue. And he always manages to work out a deal to make everyone happy. Golden tongue. You heard it here first. I don't know much if it's true, but if it is, then the recent fights around Little Italy would make more sense. You mean the crazy reports we've gotten recently? The very same. Italian gangs are probably trying to regain the turf they've lost. He's right. Half of the reports I got today were all about action on the east side of town. Meyer's men must really be putting pressure on them. Just how much of a foothold does he have in Cleveland? Ellipses. Leslie rolls over on the bed, a glum shadow settling on his normally bright features. I expected him to be cheery about this new lead, not so grim. What's gotten into him? You know, Richter, sometimes I don't know if we're doing the right thing. His voice drops to a soft, hesitant murmur, the first time I've ever heard him so unsure of himself. Boss? You know, helping enforce prohibition. My shock must be obvious because Leslie lets out a wry laugh. That sounds rich coming from a drunk sap like me. Probably think I'm nuts, but to tell you the truth, I've never been certain of it all. Is it really the government's job to tell folks what they can and can't drink? Will a dry America really be a better place to live? Seeing folks enjoying themselves and relaxing, like tonight, makes me think liquor's not just for fun. It's part of our culture, our customs.
It's not about getting drunk, it's about the freedom to drink, just like anything else. Freedoms we fought for since the colonists came over in their big stupid boats.
He glances away with a self-deprecating, wistful smile. Now that I think about it, he's been a lot less enthusiastic about this job than our previous work. I guess now I know why.
Did I ever tell you how much I wanted to be an FBI agent, Richter?
Oh my gosh, if Meyer gets both of them and he gets in the FBI, the mafia is never going away in Cleveland. Once, I think.
Mom and Dad, they always told me to keep at it. I think they believed in me more than I did. They didn't know why I wanted to hunt the bad guys so badly.
The bad guys? He nods solemnly, eyes clouded over with memory.
My parents were saints, but some of my friends, they weren't so lucky. A few had mothers and fathers who'd taken to the bottle, and, well, the ones who didn't have marks on their bodies had them in their minds. It crushed me, seeing it happen to the people I cared for, being so powerless to stop it. That's why when the Volstead Act rolled out, I was all for it. Surely it'd stop the same thing from happening to other kids.
Leslie slowly trails off. Our gazes meet for a long, somber moment. But I guess I'm starting to grow up now.
I know people always find another thing to abuse, and something like liquor, something so core to society, you can't ever really get rid of it. So should we be the ones to help take it away? Away from the people who drink for fun, over dinner to celebrate because they damn well please? The soldiers who lost arms and legs fighting in the war but come home to hear they can't even enjoy a shot of bourbon? I just don't know.
He lets out another sigh, this one deep and troubled. His eyes shut tight, almost like he's trying to fall asleep again. You're not crazy, boss. Leslie stares at me like I just sprouted wings. Wing fic. Well, maybe a little crazy, but for different reasons. About what you said, though, the more I think about it, it's hard for me to argue. I hesitate for a moment. Normally, I don't open up much to people, but tonight's proving to be a strange night. Oh no, as she closes all of the important things. Right at the crux of everything. And in front of Leslie, I don't feel like I have to hold anything back. My pa, he drank. I guess it's all he had since my ma died having me. Probably why he took off when I was a kid. Left me with my grandparents.
Richter.
Leslie's fingers reach out to brush my sleeve, lightly squeezing the fabric. Don't feel sorry for me. They were good folks. Traditional views aside. Grandpa, he was always muttering about how the law is what makes man better than beast. Every single time he read the police reports, he'd say that without fail. The law is the highest order to uphold on earth. Grandpa thought aside from the Bible, that is. So little Richter got that drilled into his head, did he? I nod, smirking faintly. No crime headlines to read in heaven, Grandpa. You must be pretty bored up there. He wanted me to be a policeman, but luckily detective work was close enough to count. When it comes to prohibition, though, I've always had my doubts. Maybe the laws make us better than beasts, but the government's not the gospel. I don't know, it doesn't feel right to follow orders just because they're from the top. I joined the agency to help people, not make their lives harder. Anything that goes against that, I just can't put my heart in it. Feds or no. By the time the last words leave my mouth, I feel like a complete idiot. Just because Leslie shared his story didn't mean I had to go and babble on. It's like I'm an old church lady or something. You know, Richter, I really admire you.
Leslie smiles warmly at me when I glance at him in shock. This route's got the character development. Where'd that come from, I wonder? Unlike most folks, you don't always take things at face value. Stop and think. You feel, instead of only judging. Maybe you should be the senior partner. Then I'd feel better about relying on you so much. I think you've got it wrong, boss. I'm just a regular old... No. There's nothing regular about you. Not to me, anyway. Oh man, he pulled like an inverse Kylo Ren. No, you're a special breed of fantastic. Ellipses. He doesn't normally give me these genuine compliments. How the hell am I supposed to respond to that? I admire you too, boss. What I mean is Oh. Please, do tell me more. Well, now I've gone and done it. I can tell he's not gonna let me get away with this one, so I better come up with something quick. I guess I really admire... Oh god, save. I've got to make the right choices. Make good choices. Which one lets me kiss him? Because adorable could be like teasing, like, oh, you're cute, but dedicated could be genuine. I don't know. All. Adorable? No, dedicated. I feel like dedicated sounds more genuine to me. How dedicated you are to your job, to your friends, everything. Even if you don't act like it sometimes. Leslie's face scrunches up in a show of half exasperation, half amusement. Were you listening to a thing I just said? After all that, you can still call me dedicated. Oh, come on now. All that talk was proof of how much dedication you really have. A dedicated man asks questions to try and do what's right. He doesn't blindly follow orders. That's why I respect you, boss. A soft, affectionate smile warms Leslie's face. It's nice to see him happy again. A smile suits him a lot better than that glum frown. Oi, Richter. Leslie's tone suddenly turns serious again. Almost too serious. Now that we've poured our hearts out to each other, I need to tell you something important. What's that? Well, I'm not just gonna bellow it out. It's a secret. Lean down. He impatiently beckons me closer. Curious, I scoot towards the head of the bed, leaning in to listen. I'm not sure what could possibly be, so what's happening? Oh my gosh, August. A hand grabs the back of my hair and pulls me down. The next thing I know... Yup. Leslie's soft lips are pressed against mine. The boss is... This can't be happening. Did I fall asleep? Leslie holds the kiss for a little longer, fingers tightly curled in my hair. But after a few seconds, he lets go. I quickly pull back, touching a hand to my lips. Oh no, look at his face! He looks horrified! A mortified look of horror instantly crosses Leslie's face. I don't think he realized what he was doing either. Richter, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. The boots, I just... He covers his face with his hands, peeking at me through his fingers. It's like he thinks I'm gonna start shouting at him. What am I, that scary? One kiss doesn't hurt anybody, does it? After a moment of hesitation, I lean closer to Leslie, gently pulling his hands away from his face. He's so wide-eyed and embarrassed. I'd better savor this look, because he doesn't wear it often. You save it if you're a YouTuber. Just between you and me, boss. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. Richter. This time I'm the one who kisses Leslie, pressing him to the bed. His hand flits back to my hair, fingers grabbing and pulling a lot rougher than his normal ruffles, that's for sure. He lets out a soft whimper when I nip and suckle his bottom lip, playfully tugging at it with my teeth. We share a string of light kisses, but I can't keep myself from teasing my tongue into his mouth, savoring his little mules of delight. I'm in a daze myself. We've always had a close relationship, me and Leslie, but neither of us ever dared to push beyond that unspoken line. But as I cover Leslie's lips with kisses, finally embracing him the way I've always dreamed of doing, I can't deny how satisfying it feels. I care so much for him, more than anything or anyone else. Boss, partner, friend. Does it really matter? He's here with me. He wants me. And that's all that I can bring myself to care about. Our lips press firm together. Oh my god, I can't speak. It's too much kissing. Our lips press together harder, forcing me to steal breaths in between Leslie's needy kisses. He's really getting into it. Is that his thigh rubbing between my legs? I swear he's so unfairly adorable that I can't help myself. If I didn't know he was drunk, I don't think I'd be able to keep my hands off him. Finally, I draw back just enough to suck in some much-needed air. Leslie nuzzles against my ear, murmuring softly against it. I hope I won't forget this in the morning, but if I do, you have my permission to remind me. Yeah, sure. The full extent of what we did suddenly hits me like a frying pan in the face. I pull away, more jerking upright and letting out a cough, turning my head awkwardly to one side. Work's sure gonna be interesting tomorrow, eh? How the hell can we resume our normal business after this? I sure hope I didn't just make the dumbest mistake of my life. Maybe we should leave the hotel and head home. It's getting pretty late, don't you think, boss? I steal a glance back over at Leslie, unsure how he'll respond. He's asleep, he's gone. It's all over. You better go pay for the hotel room. His chest slowly rises and falls, and quiet breaths flutter out from his parted lips. You'd think I would have seen that one coming. With a sigh, I slide off onto the floor, leaning back against the side of the bed. I guess I'll keep vigil and mull things over until Leslie wakes up. Thanks to his insistent touching, I can't exactly fall asleep right now. Well, whatever happens after tonight, I can't say I have any regrets. You're really something, boss. That's for sure. And I like you, just the way you are. Hypocrisy, narcolepsy and all. I wouldn't have it any other way. Alright, the next day. I stumble into the office bright and early, letting out a long yawn, forgetting all about Myra and my previous thirst. I haven't pulled an all-nighter like that since my college days, and now I understand why. Slumping into my chair, I glug down my coffee and try to slap myself awake.
We've got work to do today, so hopefully Leslie isn't too late. I dropped him off around 4 a.m. at his apartment, but he managed to get more sleep than I did. You know, maybe I should just go bring the whole coffee pot in here. I've got a feeling I'm gonna need it. I rise unsteadily back to my feet, wandering back to the door in a haze. Just as I reach for the handle... Good morning! Ah! Ow, do you really have to scream in my ears first thing, Richter? Happy to see you too, but really... Leslie pinches his ear with a grimace, frowning playfully at me. Oh, you look terrible. Sit down, I brought some donuts. They'll fix you up right, Craig. Where are these places he's getting these things so early from? I let Leslie steer me back to my chair, and he stuffs a donut into my mouth. It's good, but I'd trade all the donuts in the world for a few hours of sleep. We sit in unusual silence for a little while, munching on our breakfast and sipping coffee. Normally we'd be chattering about various things right now, but... I can't bring myself to look Leslie in the eye. Not after last night. I've never felt so awkward in my life. Are we just gonna pretend it didn't happen, or... Richter, what's the matter? Everything. Leslie calls out to me with a mouthful of donut, gazing at me curiously as he chews. He definitely doesn't seem fazed, that's for sure. He looked like a kid who just got caught peeping up a girl's skirt. What? No! Bad analogy, bad. Really, what's eating you? I don't like this silence. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. Nothing, it's nothing, boss. Listen, why don't we get started on work? We need to go over the new findings. Uh-huh. He still seems pretty suspicious, but eventually nods. I can't tell if he's playing dumb or he really can't remember. You know, it's probably the latter. About Eastman. I think we need more information on everything, including him, before we go to the FBI. If I brought him some cake, how would you feel about that? If we blow our cover too early, we'll risk losing out on more leads, more potential sources. We should play this smart. Agreed. There's still a lot we don't know. Leslie gazes up thoughtfully at the ceiling, twirling a pen between his sugar-dusted fingers. Is that Speakeasy his base of operations? How many warehouses does he have? Are there any other key players in his business? I'd say we need to send out some agents to figure out the key details. I don't want to rush into anything. Send out agents? That reminds me, what happened to Earl? The guy said to scope out the Speakeasy yesterday. What did happen to Earl? This is a serious question. Where is Earl? I didn't see him coming to work today. He didn't call me like he was supposed to. Earl got the cake. Boss, I need to make a call. I sent Earl out last night, but he hasn't come in yet. All right, don't let me stop you. I reach for the phone and quickly dial Earl's home number. Earl. Ring. 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 7 days. No answer. I have a bad feeling about this. I'd bet anything that his disappearance is related to that Speakeasy, Eastman, and the Mafia. Not good, huh? Leslie seems to figure it out pretty quickly because he raises a worried eyebrow at me. I grimly nod. Damn, I should have just gone myself last night. If something's happened to Earl, then... Not Earl! We'll get some officers and head over there this evening. Earl was 2 days from retirement. He was gonna buy a boat. Boss? Just a quiet investigation at first. See if we can find out anything about Earl. If there's incriminating evidence, then we'll turn it into a full-blown raid. But hopefully, he's just at some cat house this morning, hungover. What kind of person is Earl, if that's your assumption? Leslie gives me a small, reassuring smile. It makes me feel a little better, even though a nervous pit still shifts in my stomach. Tonight it is, then. Attaboy. Ready to go over some more reports?
Ready as I'll ever be.
The rest of the day sinks into a blur of paperwork and coffee. Paperwork and coffee. Rita, yes he does. Leslie and I busy ourselves with our mountain of reports, so there's not much time for the awkward atmosphere to come back. Considering how he's acting, maybe nothing really ever happened at all. Maybe I just dozed off in the hotel room and had a bittersweet dream. Hello? Richter? Hello? Two hands roughly shake my shoulders. When my eyes struggle open a few seconds later, I notice how dark the sky outside is. Wait, was I? There's only one of us who can sleep for half the day, Richter. Don't try to steal my thunder. Why didn't you wake me up sooner? You were clearly exhausted. Those dark circles under your eyes make you look like a raccoon. It's cute. But listen, try to get more sleep at night, okay? I can't rely on a hazy partner to have my back after all. Ellipses. And whose fault is that I didn't get any sleep exactly, Mr. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed over here? After we get our things together, Leslie and I prepare to head out to the speakeasy. It's already late, and there's been no call from Earl, so something's obviously going on. Earl's on the take! Earl's on the take! Richter, wait. As I reach for the door, Leslie suddenly grabs my sleeve, tugging me back a little. About last night. I do remember it all, just so you know. Ah! Look at his eyes. He's like, how dare you? This. Ugh. So all of today was just an act. I know. I couldn't pass up the opportunity. Please don't hate me too much. But I just wanted to tell you that, well, I'm sorry. He bites his lip, averting his gaze guiltily. It's the same look he had last night right after he kissed me. If you want, we can agree to pretend it never happened. Things can go back to normal. We'll just be regular friends. Senior partner and junior partner. Neither of us will speak of it again, and we can chalk it up to me being drunk and stupid. Mostly stupid. Leslie loudly clears his throat, fiddling with his tie. Despite his self-effacing joke, I can tell he's being serious about this. Our friendship's important to both of us, so it's understandable, but... how do I really feel about this? It's not a question of liking Leslie, but last night's situation was, well... You were drunk, so I feel guilty. I definitely don't want to forget it. I don't want to forget it. I don't. No, boss. I don't want to pretend it didn't happen. Definitely not. Even though I don't know where things will go from here, I know for sure that I like you. You liked kissing me is what you mean. I thought that was a given. Well, you were really enjoying it. I felt that little, or should I say, big surprise between your lips. Right, yeah, good talk. Leslie snickers at my hasty response, back to his normal smug self. But I can tell he's relieved to clear the air between us. I am too. Hey, once we're sure Earl's safe, let's talk about this again. In a more private setting. Hint, hint, hint. Does that sound okay? It sounds great, boss. Did you just... Before I can finish, Leslie suddenly pulls me into an adoring hug, squeezing so hard I can barely breathe. He buries his face against my shoulder, nuzzling against it. How can he make my heart ache so much? I'll never become a hard-boiled detective if I keep getting feelings like this. You have no chance of being a hard-boiled detective at this point. Soft-boiled detective. Soft-boiled detective. Sighing affectionately, I curl my arms around him and squeeze back, enjoying the few moments of warmth we share. Okay? Leslie soon pulls back, taking a deep breath. Then we nod at each other, just like always.
we hurry, we can get to the bottom of this and still have time for cannoli before the shop closes. Richter, you never told me you could read minds. If I try to stay out of yours. Too scared of what I might see. Clever boy. We head out side by side, determined but hopeful. The partners we've always been. I have faith in Leslie, just like he has faith in me. We'll get the job done together.
Welcome, gentlemen. Please enjoy your night.
We will. Come on, OT3. OT3. Whew. Loud music rushes over me in a wave. That's right, Karen. We gotta save Earl. How did this turn into eggs in the chat? The familiar sea of dancers, lights, and sparkling glasses. This place really is quite a scene, isn't it? Leslie murmurs at my side as we walk along, glancing around the speak. It's a lot less crowded today. They must have known you were coming. Oh, blow, blow. As we weave our way to the bar, my attention is drawn to a group of familiar figures. Those sketchy guys from the other night, but it looks like there's more of them today. I nudge Leslie's side and jerk my chin in their direction. Totally subtle, not in any way signaling that I'm a detective. He follows my subtle gesture, eyes narrowing faintly. We exchange no words, but I can tell we're thinking the same thing. Those are Meyer's men. At the bar, Leslie orders us a couple of drinks just to keep up appearances, and he better not drink it because, my goodness, Leslie cannot. We've got to find some way to ask about Earl, but we can't risk being too obvious about it. Jack. Finally decided to show up, hmm? Oh no, I don't have the cake! When a certain voice calls out over the music, I freeze. If that's who I think it is, then... I was terribly disappointed last night, Jack. The expensive bottle of honey silverbets I got for you was my sole conversation partner. Sure enough, Meyer saunters up with his usual sly grin, leaning one arm against the bar. Oh? I see you brought a friend. Meyer turns his attention to Leslie, studying him for a few moments before offering a polite nod. Look at Leslie's face. He's like, no. Leslie does the same, sizing the other man up silently, but quickly breaks into a smile of his own. Artemis! You must be Meyer. Jack was just singing your praises, and you know, I can really see why. Well, you know, Jack is very thirsty. Singing my praises, was he? My gaze meets Meyer's, and he suggestively winks. How does he have time to run the bootleg operation in Cleveland when he's this thirsty? Great, Leslie. Thanks for encouraging him. And who might I have the pleasure of meeting tonight? Leslie's the name. How do you do? Wait, he's giving Meyer his real name? Is he planning something? They reach around to shake hands, each still wearing a confident smirk. How do you do? Would I be correct in assuming you're a public servant like Jack here, Mr. Leslie? You would be very correct. We met through work, actually. I see, I see. Very interesting. There's something uncomfortable about this atmosphere. What exactly is going on? And you, Meyer, what do you do for work? Curious you should mention that. I consider myself a public servant as well. Oh my, what a coincidence. I had a feeling, really. The second I saw you, I thought to myself, here's a charitable man, all right? I knew it. You may not believe this, but I had the same reaction. Can they flirt a little less hard? My goodness. That noble air you have. Why, it speaks volumes about you. You strike me as a dutiful sort of fella, and I respect that. Richter's like, what is happening? How did this get away from me? No, something is definitely very wrong. There's no way either of them is being serious. In fact, it almost sounds like... Actually, Meyer, I have a question for you. Pausing for a moment, Leslie glances up at the clock. It's only a quick look, but it seems deliberate. Of course. Please go on. You didn't happen to see a man around here the other night? Dark, shaggy hair, pointy nose, brown eyes, walks with a slight limp. Meyer brushes a hand through his hair, eyes slyly drifting to one side. It's very possible. That description sounds quite familiar. But you know, Mr. Leslie, information often comes with a price. Just like magic. At that instant... Ah! It's the cops! The speakeasy door flies open. A small group of officers rush in. Screams echo through the parlor after the music cuts off, but the cacophony quickly goes silent. As the officers pull out their guns, the mafia types grab their own pieces, pointing them back at the officers. Leslie, what? Richter, please. Leslie sharply raises a hand at me and I fall quiet, stunned. This wasn't the plan we discussed. I thought we were supposed to wait for more information. Unless Leslie did this because he thought I'd be too soft on Meyer. I suggest you cooperate with us, Eastman, and give us the agent's location. Meyer doesn't seem nearly as shocked as he should be. How can he be so calm? He had no idea this was going to happen. Did he? All right, I'll cooperate with you. But please, tell your men to lower their weapons. I'll do the same for mine, and then we can discuss things calmly, without threat of accidental bloodshed. Agreed? Leslie hesitates. There's a very strange degree of trust going on here, but I get the sense that neither of them wants it to end in violence. I know Leslie hates hurting people, even criminals, and Meyer doesn't seem the type to enjoy it either. Understood. Both of them exchange looks and simultaneously nod at their men, who slowly, reluctantly lower their guns. The tension in the room eases a little bit, though it's still far from calm. Let me preface by saying your man is safe. He's being held in the back room, properly fed and watered. In fact, he's already gotten to most of the men. A very likable fellow. What is happening in the back room? What happened on Earl's night? I want to play that game. That does sound like Earl. That guy can get along with just about anyone. Why did you capture him then? To use him as bait, naturally. Bait? Meyer nods, giving me a slightly apologetic smile, although he looks too pleased with himself about it all. You see, after our friend Jack here showed up the other night, I was struck with an idea. I knew he was a detective before he so much as walked in the door. Your informant's working for me, so I decided to have a chat with him. You mean, back there, that was... Don't get me wrong, Richter. I was enjoying every second of it. But I've been looking for a way to work out an arrangement with the law in Cleveland for some time. You're a hard-headed sort here, let me tell you. He exhales a breath between his teeth, gently shaking his head. Richter, however, I could tell he was made of something different. Not so hell-bent on enforcing the Volstead Act, yet not just the type to be bought, either. I was intrigued. So I thought I'd try to work out a deal, until he cruelly decided to leave me hanging, that is. Giving him my name was what you might call a backup plan. I knew he'd put it together soon enough, and come back when he did. Capturing your agent. Now that was a little more spontaneous. A little foolish, too. More than likely. But it's how I operate. He's a dangerous man. His lips curl in a devil-may-care smirk, and he shrugs nonchalantly. You really had this all planned from the beginning. Wasn't it a huge risk? Of course. But a calculated one. Meyer casually waves one hand as if brushing away my disbelief. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I like to make big gambles. And most of the time, they pay off. But I've done my research on your backgrounds, your past jobs. I knew you wouldn't simply raid my venue without showing a little of your hand first. So you could say the chips landed where I thought they might.
It's suddenly all too clear how this man became a mafia leader. He's got the right mixture of planning, risk-taking, and charm, all wrapped up in one dangerous package. Phew. I feel like a man who just got cheated out of his fortune at cards. Leslie rubs his cheek with a hand, blinking rapidly as if to try and understand everything we just heard. I can't blame him. I knew Meyer was sharp, but I had no idea he'd planned everything out ahead of time. I'll admit, despite the fact that your methods are incredibly questionable, you've made me curious. You mentioned a deal, didn't you? What kind of deal are we talking about here? Leslie. To my surprise, Leslie cautiously questions Meyer, one eyebrow slightly raised. I was expecting him to be furious, but instead he sounds more impressed than anything. Ah, I was hoping you'd ask that. Why don't we discuss matters privately, on a neutral ground? I'll even let you pick the spot. All of us disarmed, with a few of our men waiting outside. A moment, if you don't mind. Leslie grabs my sleeve and pulls me aside a little, leaning up to whisper in my ear. You really trust him enough for this? Normally I'd say it's suicide, but this Meyer, he's not like any other man I've ever met. That line. It's like talking to the chief of a big corporation, not a mafia leader. He scratches his head, clearly baffled. It's not like I can blame him. I felt the same way when I first met Meyer the other night. I don't think he means us any harm, boss. He's still a gangster, obviously, but I think he really wants to work out a deal. All of this would be way too much trouble otherwise. And honestly, I'd like to hear what he has to say. My thoughts exactly. You think we should hear him out then? After a brief moment of hesitation, I nod. We're playing with fire here and we both know it, but that's nothing new for us. If you don't mind my saying, Mr. Leslie, I gather you're the type to take precautions. Meyer pipes up airily and we both glance over towards him. Should the two of you not show up in perfect health tomorrow, I'm certain I'll have a big hassle on my hands, and that's not what I want, I assure you. You really did do your research, didn't you? It's a favorite hobby of mine. So that means you know what size underwear Richter wears. Boss! I'm afraid you'll have to barter for that information. Oh, you drive a hard bargain, do you? I like that. I feel like my only ally just switched his colors. Great. Just great. After a little more discussion, the three of us settle on a hotel room for our meeting spot. The unfortunate patrons who had to witness all that, well, they're sent home and promised free drinks when they come back. In this day and age, that's probably enough to risk being shot. Once that mess is sorted out, the three of us head to the hotel with our respective men. I can't even begin to imagine how tonight will end, but I have to hope for the best. Okay, we did that route. Yes! I hope this isn't the part where we get shot by a sniper through the window. The restaurant across the street wouldn't let my man inside, unfortunately. Ah, what a relief! The three of us stroll into the hotel room, still followed by the tense air from earlier. Tense? Is that what we're calling it? That was a UST air. Nothing else. Meyer and Leslie have been constantly bantering on the way here, but I can't tell if it's genuine snideness or the playful kind. Well, no point in wasting any time, eh? Let's hear your proposal, Eastman. We're listening. Of course. I'm sure both of you are exceptionally busy men. We shift into a fairly close circle, close enough that we don't risk our voices carrying too far. Leslie stands nearer to my side than Meyer, almost protective in his stance. I don't know what he thinks he can do, if worse came to worse. I guess I could pick him up to use as a battering ram. I assume you're already aware of my influence in our city, and the control I have over a large amount of business. But I'm not without competition. There are a number of smaller, persistent groups that, while less organized, are still significant. And as a result of my extensive network, I'm very familiar with the movements of those various outfits and their leaders across Cleveland.
In English, that means you know what the other gangs are up to, right? Precisely, Richter. He winks at me almost imperceptibly, like I've finally been let in on some inside joke. I'll propose that I offer a steady stream of that information to you. More than enough to fill reports for the FBI. Surely at least for the time being. You'll discover a new warehouse to raid every other week. One that coincidentally belongs to a different organization than my own. A funny thing how coincidences like that happen. Leslie quips dryly, glancing between Meyer and me. His gaze stays locked with mine for several seconds, one eyebrow raised in a "what do you make of this so far" kind of way. Selling out, working with the mafia. I love how they think that, like, once prohibition's done, they'll be able to get out of this. No, this is a deal for life. So what would you be wanting in exchange? A level of discretion on your part that will allow me to carry on with my business. Meyer murmurs his terms rather naturally, blowing on his nails and polishing them nonchalantly on his collar. Because you know he gets manicures. That is a well-manicured man. I'll see to it that my men keep their noses clean. After all, I'm interested in providing alcohol to customers, not filling the streets with the bodies of my enemies. Very poetic. There's certainly more where that came from. He doesn't even make eye contact, instantly gazing in another direction, but his tone is teasing enough to get the message across. Leslie narrows his eyes a little at Meyer. Is he trying to read him, or has he already made up his mind? Believe me, I don't doubt that a part of this conflicts with your sense of justice as detectives. After speaking with Richter, I wouldn't expect anything less. But you're both logical, practical men. Try to view the situation through a more objective lens. There's a short pause, but an important one. My mind flashes back to my conversation with Leslie, our doubts and guilt over what we're doing. If you took me to jail right now, and by some miracle managed to convict me, someone else will only step up to take my place. This war on liquor will never really end. It's never existed to begin with. All it succeeded in doing was creating a different sort of industry, a more dangerous one. With all that in mind, his dark green eyes flick from me to Leslie and back to me. Why not compromise? Make your employees happy in exchange for making the American people happy. Once he finishes speaking, a longer silence falls over the room. Leslie rubs at his shoulder with one hand, staring at the floor with a deep, brooding expression, and I fall into my own complicated thoughts. I've always wanted to control crime, uphold the law, and fall asleep with a clean conscience every night. But when it comes to prohibition, that same question keeps resurfacing in my head. You can't pretend that this is the only place his interests lie, but I'm still living for it. Go ahead, sell out. Is enforcing this law really the right thing to do? Should we follow federal orders like mindless slaves? Or should we make our own judgments in cases like this? I steal a glance up at Meyer. He returns my gaze with a gentle, calm smile, eyes glimmering curiously. Richter? Leslie turns to face me, his features carefully composed in an unusually neutral mask. Any thoughts? Deciding to let my apparently crippling honesty speak for me, I take a deep breath. I don't think prohibition is meant to last. I take pride in my job, but I get nothing out of enforcing Volstead's middle finger to America, snatching away hoots just to suit the Fed's fancy. That doesn't sit right with me. And as for Meyer, hello there, I have your cake. I think he's right, boss. With him or without him, the liquor business here will keep going, and I'd rather someone like Meyer run it than some crew out for blood as much as profit. They're playing central piano in the back of this. Leslie chews on his lip. He's wavering on the brink of deciding something, but I can't tell which way he's leaning. Whatever decision you make, boss, I'll stand behind it. You can count on that. I know, Richter. That's why you're my partner. After a lengthy pause, Leslie finally breaks into a faint smile, turning his gaze from me to Meyer. Listen, I can't promise the deal will hold forever, Meyer. There's always a risk that someone will find out or we'll get moved on to a different case. I'm well aware. So few good things last forever. But that's more of a reason to enjoy them while they last, isn't it?
I'll drink to that, all right.
He suddenly takes a deep, sharp breath, eyes flashing. It sure feels good to spit in Volstead's eye. That son of a gun. And grabs Meyer's hand firmly, shaking it with pure determination. Look, Meyer was not ready for the enthusiasm. In fact, he seems so convicted that I have to wonder how hard the decision really was for him. He wasn't just pausing for dramatic effect back then, was he? You know, my sister got married last week and the reception was completely dry. Not a drop of booze in sight. Have you ever had to sit through 15 wedding speeches completely sober? I've never prayed so hard for rapture in my life. As his hand is pumped up and down by an enthusiastic Leslie, Meyer breaks into delighted laughter. Maybe the first time I've ever heard him be so loud. Whether it's from amusement or relief, though, I can't really tell. Well, this is cause for celebration, gentlemen. Wouldn't you agree? Meyer steps over to the door, lightly knocking 4 times. A few seconds later, it opens slightly, and someone discreetly hands him a bottle and several wine glasses. They know what's up. They know what's up at Hookup Hotel. Is that... You had them bring it here? Wasn't that a bit presumptuous? I only make bets I'm confident in. I have a feeling we're gonna get along just fine. They exchange playful glances. And then their eyes slide over to me. Why do I suddenly feel like a rabbit spotted by a pair of lions? Hey, what are you... Before I know it, the other two have taken my arms, pulling me over to the foot of the bed. Like they're operating on some new unspoken pact, they sandwich me between them before I can even finish my protest. Shall we toast the success of our new partnership? Don't mind if I do. You're a true gentleman after all, Meyer. Leslie holds out his glass and Meyer casually reaches over for me to pour. And of course, we shouldn't forget the wonderful little detective brought us together, should we? Well, it's really nothing. I humbly nominate him as our ambassador, the key component to making sure our arrangement runs smoothly. That's actually not a bad idea. He can't tell a lie to save his life, so it's better for him than undercover work, that's for sure. What the? I didn't agree to this, did I? Hello? Agree, Richter, please. You're merely continuing the role you already have. You heard the man, Richter. Ambassador is a great sounding title, too. I'm jealous. Very funny. You fellas are a real riot. As I grumble to myself watching the deep ruby liquid flow into Leslie's glass, my mind begins to picture how many other deals like this will take place while Prohibition goes on. It's already changing our country forever. Changing us as Americans forever. Though I doubt we'll understand the full scale of it for many, many years. But when I think about all the detectives and officers who will one day reach the same conclusion as us, I have to wonder, just how much longer will this dry America last? I think it's perfectly fair to keep him 4 days a week with me. Whoa, Meyer, that's... Are you keeping him in the back room? This is getting intense. 4 days? You trying to monopolize him, eh? I tune back into a good-natured argument, one that seems to be about... What if we shared him for 1 day? Surely a reasonable man like yourself would agree to that, Leslie. Sharing him for a day, eh? You know, I think that can be arranged. What the hell kind of conversation are you... Never mind. It's the ending that was meant to be. True love, OD3. A noble experiment. We did it. We got the true ending. I enjoyed this game a lot. For those who are interested, if you came in later or watching after the stream, the link is down below. It is free. It's by Argent Games. They also have a couple of other games out. Of course, I'm blanking on the names right now because I'm useless, but check them out if you're interested. I really liked this. It was fun.
thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to enjoy this game with me. I plan to play a lot more visual novels. I'm a really big fan of the genre in general. So I hope that you had fun, and I look forward to sharing. See, I've got OT3 on the brain. Seeing you all again when I can. Enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, whatever, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.